The winter solstice is the shortest day. It's a sacred festival going back to the hunter-gatherers and the first farmers and beyond them. And many of the sacred cairns round here in the west of Ireland where I live are orientated to the winter solstice. In fact, I do sacred west of Ireland tours, taking you to these wonderful ancient sites, some of them 5,500 years old. And those sacred west of Ireland tours are on my Druid Forest School website. So let's make this time of winter solstice a time for honouring our ancestors. And I would say that I personally have learned that our ancestors need to be honoured. That's partly because they will cause less trouble for us than if we're critical of them. But it's also because we're wrong to criticise them, even if they behave horribly and horribly towards us. I mean, basically we are all born to get certain things wrong, and indeed our divisional charts such as the D60 show that, and the D9. But the divine purpose there is that we can then see that such an action or attitude is wrong and heal that, and thus that flow of karma through our lifetimes is ended. So it's not up to us to criticise our ancestors, however horrible they might have been. We honour our ancestors. And indeed, the Neolithic monuments around here show that the people from, Anatolia who arrived in Ireland 3,500 BC with a new culture tremendously honoured their ancestors. So this is the end of the descent into darkness. The winter solstice is the shortest day. And therefore pause at the time, honour what you have achieved in the run-up to this shortest day, and identify what sort of you do you want to seek to become with the growing of the light that occurs from this day. There is a shift in the great balance. Take time to attune to this. Okay, let's go on to the Sun. The Sun starts December at 15 Scorpio. Scorpio is of course ruled by Mars. And the Sun starts December in Anuradha Nakshatra. And Sun is actually conjunct Mars in Scorpio. My goodness. That energy has such a terrible downside. But we have to see the rightful warrior side of Sun Mars in Scorpio. Sun enters the next nakshatra, Jyesta Nakshatra, within Scorpio at 16 Scorpio on the 3rd of December. Jyesta Nakshatra has the energy of the older sister. Its energy can help us with charisma and inspiration. And then Sun actually enters the next sign, Sagittarius, on the 15th of December, crossing the Gandanta zone from Scorpio to Sagittarius, and of course also entering the first nakshatra of Sagittarius, which is Mula Nakshatra. Sun is in Mula Nakshatra, where goddess Niriti rules Mula Nakshatra, the goddess of death and destruction. And all of us need to go through death and destruction phases of behaviours and attitudes and awarenesses that we have outgrown. Please realise that when Sun enters Mula on the 15th. Cultivate the potential for connection to the divine And of course, be aware that when the Sun is transiting from Scorpio to Sagittarius, that's a Gandanta zone crossing. And I mentioned what that is and the huge gifts that awareness of Gandanta energy can bring us. So at this time, be open to visions. Beware being open to weakness and unsupportiveness. Manage that feeling, but open to the gifts of the Gandanta. And in fact, the Sun indeed next goes on to cross galactic center. When the Sun is in Sagittarius, please realize there's a wonderful increase in blessing and sense of purpose. Sagittarius, you see, is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter will be trine the Sun at this time, centering on the 28th of December. Jupiter has an energy of blessing and sense of purpose and connection to the divine. And of course, there's also the death and birth opportunities of Mula Nakshatra ruled by Niriti. The Sun then goes on within Sagittarius to enter Purvashada Nakshatra on the 30th of December, and Purvashada Nakshatra is ruled by Venus. And in fact, note that on the 11th of December, the Sun is in conjunct Uranus. Be open to change, even sharp or revolutionary change around the 11th of December. And the Sun's also moving into a square from Neptune from the date of the new moon on the 12th of December. Allow time to open to manifestation of intuition, sensitivity and vision. The Neptune-Sun aspect, the square, is exact on the 16th of December. Okay, having looked at the Sun, we now go to the Moon. So I just mentioned at this point that there's a new moon in December at 26 Scorpio in Jyesta Nakshatra. And that's a very fraught energy. Watch out for my video and blog on the new moon. And it's followed by a full moon on the 27th of December with the moon at 10 Gemini in formidable Ardra Nakshatra and Sun at 20 Sagittarius in formidable Mula Nakshatra. So watch out for my video and blogs on the lunations, the new moon and the full moon. So now we go to Mercury. Mercury starts December at 6 Sagittarius, of course in Mula Nakshatra. Mercury reaches Purvashada Nakshatra at 14 Sagittarius on December the 10th, staying in Purvashada Nakshatra ruled by Venus until December the 16th. So while Mercury is there, we actually experience the energy combination of Mercury, Venus and Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius. But Mercury then turns retrograde at 14 Sagittarius on the 13th of December, remaining retrograde until January the 1st. All the delays and communication problems, etc. Mercury actually leaves Sagittarius and re-enters Scorpio on the 28th of December. And in fact, Mercury is in the Gandanta zone from December the 4th to January the 11th. So there's quite a few facts and figures and dates about this very complicated Mercury transit in the associated blog. My goodness, I'll just pick out a few details. Look at the blog for the calendar of all this. So Mercury and Sun are exactly combust, or Kazimi, on December the 22nd at 6 Sagittarius. And please note that exact combustion, that is Kazimi, can be such a time for receiving guidance and insights. Put it in your diary. December the 22nd. Look out for insights. Make the space. Mercury is conjunct Mars on the 27th of September and has a square aspect to Neptune. So Mercury is moving backwards and forwards, but is generally in a trine from Jupiter, where Jupiter is at 12 Aries. So watch in the background of all that Mercury retrograding chaos for the blessing energy from Jupiter. Concentrate on seeking the big picture. Don't get dragged down into the no doubt horrific problems and details that can occur. Okay, let's go to Venus. Venus starts December at 2 degrees Libra. Remember, Libra is the sign that Venus rules. So Venus' strength or planetary dignity is thus very strong. And of course, in terms of the nakshatras, Venus starts December in creative Chitra nakshatra ruled by Mars. Venus enters the next nakshatra, Swati nakshatra, ruled by Rahu North Node, on the 6th of December at 7 Libra. And make sure that Swati's driven buffalo power animal doesn't overturn your connection to Venus's harmony, beauty and love. Venus enters the next nakshatra, the powerful imperious Vishaka nakshatra, which is ruled by Jupiter, on the 17th of December at 20 Libra. Let your connection to Venus moderate Vishaka's potentially overbearing nature. Set high standards in love expression instead. Vishaka has the victory arch. My big message in all this December astrology is seek victory, particularly around the expression of Mars and Venus. Note that Venus is opposition Uranus on December the 21st. Insights, surprises, openings in love, even revolution in love expression. Venus enters Scorpio on the 25th of December, still in Vishaka Nakshatra. So try and use the new Scorpio energy to strengthen your Venus love and creativity issues. You see, Scorpio energy is about death and rebirth, and we probably have love scripts that need to die, allowing us to be reborn. So apply the higher Scorpio energy to your Venus issues. Leaving Vishaka Nakshatra, Venus enters meditative and visionary Anuradha Nakshatra ruled by Saturn within Scorpio from the 28th of December. Don't let Mars, which is in the Scorpio Sagittarius Gandanta at this time, plus Mercury retrograding at this time, upset the potential of the Venus transit. That's the big message. Venus actually ends December at 8 Scorpio, still in Anuradha Nakshatra. Now, an important thing to note is that Pluto is square Venus at the at the start of the month of December. This is an opportunity to come into your personal empowerment in the expression of love. Let that energy of Pluto square Venus run right through December and beyond. So there are other notes about the Venus transit in the blog, which are well worth reading, but I now go on to Mars. Mars starts December at 11 Scorpio in Anuradha Nakshatra ruled by Saturn. Mars is conjunct Sun in Scorpio, a very powerful energy. It could be completely misused. But as I said, our task must be to embody and perceive better and better our inner warrior self in this month of December. Actually, by weird coincidence, I've been currently reading a novel about Icarus, the son of Crete and Daedalus. And Icarus actually fitted himself with wings and flew high. But the trouble is, he went too close to the sun and he crashed down to earth. But I'm sort of reading in that the moral that Icarus actually fitted his wonderful wings with wax, and going so close to the sun melted the wax and the wings fell off. So I really feel up to each of us to, in a sense, fit wings to us and approach the sun and our personal sun, but don't allow weaknesses to let your wings fall off like poor Icarus did. Check out whether your weaknesses are limiting and endangering your arising to the proper expression of your own sun this complex month of December. I haven't quite finished the novel, so I look forward to seeing how it all works out. Balance courage with strategy and good intention. Do the work. So there are again other notes on the important but complex movements of Mars in December. So in this video I now go to Jupiter. Jupiter starts December at 12 Aries. Jupiter is retrograde in Ashwini Nakshatra, the healer's nakshatra, ruled by Ketu, the south node. The Jupiter-Ketu combination is tremendously spiritually insightful. Jupiter turns direct on the 30th of December at 11 Aries. So at this time, look at your own chart and see what planets is Jupiter aspecting. It sends trine aspects in particular, but also, of course, oppositions and squares. So for the trine aspects, look around 11-12 degrees of Aries, Libra, Leo and Sagittarius. And if you see that you have natal planets there, make the time to connect to the feeling of blessing, sense of purpose and connection to the divine and expansion that Jupiter is sending. Very importantly, Jupiter is actually opposition Venus. So Jupiter at 12 Libra, Jupiter at 12 Aries, Venus at 12 Libra, exact on the 10th of December. The two great benefics combine. They are each different faces of the divine. Jupiter is blessing, enlargement, sense of purpose, but Venus has a sort of kinder and more loving treatment of our failings and other people's failings, and thus the kindness and love of Venus gives it its title, the preceptor of demons. So be aware, particularly around the 10th of December, about these two great benefics, and try and develop your awareness of the two different sorts of benefic energy and your own manifesting of it to the people you meet in your life. Okay, let's go on to Saturn. Well, Saturn starts December at 6 Aquarius in Shatabhishak Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu North Node, and ends December at 9 Aquarius. So please see my quite extensive comments in the first paragraph of this post, all about the energies of Saturn in December. And let's go on to Uranus. Uranus starts December retrograde at 26 Aries. It's in Bharani Nakshatra, which is ruled by Venus. Sun moves into inconjunct 150 degrees from Uranus on the 11th of December. That's quite a wonderful revolutionary energy. The inconjunct, in my opinion, and I remember from my very early course on psychodynamic Western astrology, is a matter of we are walking along our pathway in life. We're walking along our life's pathway, walking along. But we have to come to the realization we can no longer walk the pathway we're on. And why can't we? Because we find that our pathway no longer exists. We come to a fork in the road. We have to choose, as it were, right or left. And indeed, there's a very powerful ancient Greek and much older goddess called Hecate, the goddess of the underworld, the goddess of the crossroads. And Hecate work can be quite wonderful. You know, and if you want, I can meet you for an online session on that based on your astrology. So having mentioned Uranus, let's go on to Neptune. As I said at the introduction, Neptune is at 0 Pisces, extremely powerful because he's stationary. And it's a good idea for you to analyse carefully what aspect your natal planets might be receiving from Neptune, because Neptune at his highest is the sensitive and the visionary, and we can use so many wonderful energies when Neptune is activated in our life. I remember, 20 years ago, for several years,